President Buhari confers national honors on President-elect Tinubu, and VP-elect Shettima urges commitment to Nigeria's progress.
As we celebrate this auspicious occasion, let us not forget the immense responsibility that comes with leadership.
DSS issues warning and protocol adherence as security tightens before May 29th inauguration. Ex-presidential candidate fined 40 million naira by appeal court over attempt to stop Tinubu's inauguration. Plus, regional partnership needed for long-term solutions in Lake Chad Basin, say experts.
We are gathered here to discuss all constraints and find solutions.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on NTA Network News. I'm Cyril Stover in Abuja. Hinginu John Adams joins us from Lagos. President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima have been conferred with the national honors of the GCFR and the GCON. President Muhammadu Buhari, while performing the investiture, urged them to continue serving the people with greater commitment and dedication in advancing Nigeria's democracy and development. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
With authority vested in me as President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I have conferred the national honors of GCFR on His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu and that of GCON on His Excellency Kashim Shettima, respectively.
The conferment of the highest national honor is in accordance with the tradition of honoring all Nigerian presidents and vice presidents. This is also in line with the National Honors Act of 2004. President Muhammadu Buhari is conferring same on President-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima.
As we celebrate this auspicious occasion, let us not forget the immense responsibility that comes with leadership. The challenges facing our nation are significant, and it is the duty of the President and the Vice President to address them with courage, wisdom, and compassion. We must remain committed to the principles of good governance, transparency, and accountability, as these are the foundations upon which our nation's progress and development rely.
The second component of the ceremony is a formal handing over of transition documents and the transfer of a symbolic baton of service to the incoming president. And President Buhari says he is handing over the management of the country in good hands.
We just witnessed the transfer of a baton of service from me to President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu as part of a symbolic handover for him to continue with the race of advancing our democracy and development.
Your devotion to progressive and democratic governance is unassailable. I stand here today renewed in hope and dedication to our national greatness. I also feel full of pride that this moment is our moment, and I know what it represents.
Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, gave an overview of the achievements of the outgoing administration.
Well, he is a man with great vision who sees a clear future of renewed hope, unity, justice, and prosperity for the people, and a man with a deep desire to serve the nation. He is today being conferred with the highest honor of the land, the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. From the banquet hall of the State House, it's Jide Onifade, NTA News.
In the meantime, Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima has enjoined Nigerians to join the Tinubu-Shettima government in building a new Nigeria. This was when the Vice President-elect met with Vice President Yemi Osinbajo on a familiarization tour of the Vice President's wing of the presidential villa. The tour and interaction took almost an hour. Kashim Shettima spoke to the press after the meeting.
I believe President Tinubu will hit the ground running from day one. We do not have the luxury of time. And I will be the Vice President. I don't want to be presumptuous. I don't want to make loud proclamations. But my gut feeling and my interactions with him tends to show that we will hit the ground running from day one.
You were conferred with the national honor today. What does that mean to you?
Well, it was a surreal experience, a humbling experience. We are what we are not because of our intellect, not because of our physical prowess, not because of our pedigree or political sagacity. It's just a gift from God. And power is the most ephemeral of God's gifts to humanity. 4 years or 8 years in this time, it's not more than 8 weeks. So I believe it's a humbling experience, it's a call to national duty. And by God's grace, we need the support of all of you, especially the media, for us to succeed. So I wish to implore on you, join us in building a new Nigeria.
The Department of State Services says it is aware of plans by subversive elements to disrupt the handing over programs in parts of the country. A statement by the DSS spokesperson, Dr. Peter Afunaya, says the aim is to undermine security agencies' efforts at ensuring peaceful ceremonies, as well as creating panic and fear among members of the public. The service enjoins citizens, the media and civil society organizations to adhere strictly to security and civil protocols during the events, while urging the public to shun fake news and false alarms. Similarly, all unauthorized persons are warned to stay away from restricted and certain designated areas at the event venues. And underlining that unauthorized persons have been advised to stay off Eagle Square and other restricted areas within the city center of Abuja, Force Public Relations Officer Olumuyiwa Adejobi at a media briefing says adequate personnel have been detailed to protect the presidential villa and also provide watertight security in and around Eagle Square. Francis Form reports.
Inspector General of Police has directed Command Commissioners of Police and other security agencies to carry out heavy deployments to fortify various venues of the inauguration ceremonies in their various states.
Human resources and assets of the force have been deployed to man the entry and exit points of the capital city, Abuja, and other critical government installations.
The overall commander of this operation is the Inspector General of Police himself, who will be assisted by the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of Operations Department.
Safety measures also beefed up for persons entering the venue, including screening, stop and search. Similarly, the police has announced that there will be diversions in the following areas:
Goodluck Jonathan Expressway by Court of Appeal, United Junction by Ademola Adedokobo, Ghana Junction, Transcorp Plat Bayelsa House, Aso Drive, NNPC Twin Tower, and NNPC NBS.
Force PRO assures that it will collaborate with the Nigerian Armed Forces and other security agencies to ensure the safety and security of all citizens during and after the presidential inauguration. Francis from NTA News.
Well, in a matter of days, dignitaries from across the globe will troop into the Federal Capital Territory to witness the handing over ceremony from the outgoing administration to an incoming one. What measures are in place to provide the needed security? Correspondent Unotu Yakubu gives an insight.
Show of force, covert and overt intelligence drive, stop and search as well as sweepers raking operation have been in high supply recently across the FCT. Abuja presently is the most sought-after location in Nigeria. In matter of days, dignitaries and diplomats from all walks of life will converge on the Federal Capital Territory to witness Nigeria take further democratic milestone, and the police formations in the nation's capital says nothing will be left to chance.
Kopo Haruna Garba has set up a sting team. Those teams to go around and just for constant raiding and also to flush out all those illegal shanties.
This is the Eagle Square, the magnificent national open event arena. In days to come will be no-go area to individuals who have no business being around this facility. The measure is part of proactive efforts by security agencies to curtail any excesses that may lead to the threat of the security of the event before, during, and after. ACP Magawata says, in a bid to ensure hitch-free events, the command has designed a robust security arrangement defined by tactical deployments within and outside the event grounds.
Deployment is in place, and the police, being the lead agency, is working in synergy with the sister security agencies within the FCT.
The command reiterated the Commissioner of Police Haruna Garba's charge on operatives to be on top of their game, discharge their duties with utmost respect for fundamental human rights, and abide by standard operational rules of engagement. In Abuja, Unotu Yakubu, NTA News.
The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has sanctioned the former presidential candidate Ambrose Albert Owuru with a fine of 40 million naira for filing a frivolous suit to stop the inauguration of President-elect Bola Tinubu on May 29, 2023. The three-man panel of justices of the court, in a unanimous judgment read by Justice Jamil Tukur, gave the order in Abuja. The appellate court held that Owuru embarked on gross abuse of court process by filing frivolous, vexatious and irritating suit to provoke the respondents. As a remedy for respondents, the Court of Appeal ordered the politician to pay the fine of 10 million naira each to President Muhammadu Buhari, Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Independent National Electoral Commission, and the President-elect Tinubu, whom the appellant made first to fourth respondents in the matter. The Court of Appeal held that the grievances of Owuru against the 2019 presidential election were not only strange but uncalled for, because the grievances had been pursued up to Supreme Court and were dismissed for want of merit. The three-man panel of justices pointed out that the action of Owuru to resuscitate the case that died since 2019 at the Supreme Court was aimed at making the lower courts to go on collision course with the supremacy of the apex court. In other news, President Muhammadu Buhari has inaugurated the permanent site of the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, with a charge to the management to sustain human capital development of the institute. John Yaku has the details.
President Muhammadu Buhari described the edifice as a success story of the cordial working relationship between the legislature and the executive. He attributes the high number of bills passed by the National Assembly and assented to by him to that relationship, stressing that with a conducive environment, capacity building would be enhanced for training and more development achieved.
Human capital is the essential lifeblood of a state and its public institutions, including legislature. The National Assembly and State House of Assembly strive to perform their constitutionally assigned mandate better when provided with all the required resources.
President of the Senate and Speaker, House of Representatives, both thanked President Buhari for assenting to the highest number of bills passed. They also thanked him for ensuring that the NEEDS project is completed within his tenure.
But one thing that we have achieved that many past presidents haven't is for you to, within 4 years, 2019 to date, assent over 100 bills that we have passed. And most of them are not common bills, very strategic, critical and crucial bills.
The legislative agenda of the House of Representatives prioritizes human capital development due to its centrality in achieving sustainable economic growth.
Director General of NEEDS says the conducive environment will spur the Institute to do more for national development.
I want to appreciate Mr. President who told the Ministry of Finance to ensure the settlement of the liability.
A place to learn and reflect, a platform for dialogue and engagement.
The Institute was established by Legislative Act 2011, amended in Act 2017 and assented to by President Buhari in 2018. In Abuja, John Yaku, NTA News.
I will take a short break now. The rest of the news will continue in just a moment. Thanks for staying with us. As part of efforts to mitigate the effects of climate change, the House of Representatives has asked the federal government to implement the carbon credit policy. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that the implementation will ensure that industries do not exceed emissions threshold.
Carbon credits policy is a mechanism put in place to reward industries for reducing emissions, while those that exceed set limits are sanctioned. The House, in support of the motion from Sam Unigbo, suggested collaboration between the National Council on Climate Change and other concerned ministries to formulate an action plan that is consistent with provisions of the Climate Change Act to implement the policy.
That the Federal Ministry of Environment shall set carbon budget for Nigeria to keep average increases in global temperature within 2 degrees Celsius.
Bills that pass second reading include Food Vendors Registration Council Establishment Bill from House Chief Whip Mohammed Sahir Munguno, National Fertilizer and Agricultural Pesticide Control Bill, which seeks to regulate the manufacture, importation, sales and distribution of the product, also passed second reading. 9 bills were read for the third time and passed. Among them is the bill seeking the establishment of Nigerian Nuclear Regulatory Authority. In another development, House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila has handed over the Conference of Speakers of African Parliaments COSAP to the Speaker of Ghanaian Parliament, Alban Sumana.
We must use this power to preach the message of African brotherhood and shape the worldview of our various peoples to achieve a common understanding of how deeply connected we all are.
To address common challenges, offer joint solutions, and mobilize collective action to advance our continent's development.
The Speaker also handed over the activities of the Legislative Mentorship Initiative to the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of Dr. Ghazali Muhammad Abubakar as the Executive Secretary of the National Agricultural Development Fund. The President also approved the appointment of the Chairman and members of the board of the organization. Abia State has benefited from the ongoing federal government flag-off of the distribution of relief materials for the 2022 flood victims. Chika Okore reports that the gesture aimed at cushioning the effects of flooding and victims was carried out by the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs in conjunction with the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA.
To cushion the impact of the 2022 flood, which ravaged many communities and left thousands of people homeless in Abia State, informed this event. The official handover of the presidential palliatives to the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, for onward distribution to victims.
The present administration will leave the office in less than a week's time. And this is the first phase. The second phase will also come immediately after this exercise.
This includes mattresses, cartons of noodles, packs of rice, grinding machine, sewing machine, hair clippers, cement, roofing sheets.
The representative of NEMA who took delivery of the relief materials, which include consumables, household and livelihood equipment, said only flood-affected persons will benefit from the items.
On behalf of my DG, I received this item for onward distribution to the real beneficiaries affected by 2022 flood in Abia State.
In Umuahia, Chika Okori, NTA News.
One of the largest media organizations in Asia, the China Media Group, is partnering NTA on content development to enrich the broadcast industry in line with contemporary global standards. Gufan Shaji Ugwai reports.
This meeting between management of China Media Group and top management staff of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, is to seek collaboration and support from the NTA to disseminate content through its wide reach as the largest television network station in Africa.
And I hope the visit today will initiate a new step of our cooperation.
And for us, based on the existing relationship in the joint venture between StarTimes and the NTA, I believe your visit is going to add value to what has been in existence.
The Director General of the NTA hopes that this collaboration will enrich the content of the NTA and further strengthen ties between Nigeria and China. In Abuja, Kufan Shaji Ugwani, NTA News.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has renewed oil mining leases for OML 130 production sharing contract and conversion of the acreage to a petroleum mining lease. Lydia Sampson reports that this is in accordance with the provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act.
During the signing ceremony at the NNPC Towers, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Ambassador Gabriel Tenimo Aduda said the 4 agreements executed will heighten gas production by unlocking the enormous gas potentials of the country.
The renewal of these leases will unlock our potential as a nation by increasing production, which will add significant value for our partners, their shareholders, contribute to the development of Nigeria's economy.
Given a historical perspective, Chief Upstream Investment Officer, Upstream Investment Management Services, Balawumti, recalled the dispute that stalled development of the asset.
We have planned to do the Preoway project. The Preoway project is expected to bring in direct investment of somewhere in the neighborhood of $2.2 billion.
The agreement signed a production sharing contract between NNPC Limited and its partners, China National Offshore Oil Corporation, CNOOC, South Atlantic Petroleum, SAPETRO, with Total Energies Upstream Nigeria Limited as operator, amongst others. The partners are optimistic of great benefits for themselves and for the country at large.
The PIA that has come to stay, that has come to liberate the industry is working, and that is why partners can have agreement, can have confidence in our fiscal environment, and to enter into new agreements that will enable more production in our country.
OML 130, I think, as the PermSec said during his speech, is one of the most prolific blocks in Nigeria, in deepwater Nigeria. It's already produced over 1 billion barrels of oil and gas since we started ACPO in 2009, then Agena in 2018.
It's going to impact the people because most of the revenue we get from Nigeria is from the oil sector, and we're a major player. And signing this today, it's a milestone.
With the renewal and signing, the partners say they are all set, not just for business, but also for a game-changing and impactful process. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Staying with the oil industry, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, has finalized 7 priority regulations out of the 13 presented for gazetting. The Commission's Chief Executive, Gbenga Komolafe, says the 7 signed into law show a revolutionary departure from the trajectory in the upstream sector since oil was discovered in the country. Here again is Lydia Sampson with more.
The Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission is determined to be the 21st century formidable regulator in Nigeria in their efforts towards introducing clarity in the industry through transparency in hydrocarbon accounting. The Commission had continued, in collaboration with industry players, formulated regulations in line with the PIA.
Setting of these regulations demonstrated the Commission's commitment towards providing a business-enabling environment in the Nigerian upstream oil and gas industry space.
Little wonder, Dr. Oji Ogbonnaya Oji, Executive Secretary, Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NTA, described the Commission as an emerging agency of courage, pushing boundaries to make positive impact in the Nigerian upstream oil and gas sector.
NTA has found in NUPRC an emerging agency of courage that is ready and willing to collaborate to push the boundaries of transparency and accountability in the industry.
The 7 finalized regulations are Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Measurement Regulations 2023, Nigerian Upstream Decommissioning and Abandonment Regulation 2023, among others. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Regional partnerships by key players in the Lake Chad region have been proposed in areas of research development to curb insecurity and other social constraints to the full utilization of potential in the Lake Chad Basin. Experts during a plenary session at the ongoing Second International Annual Forum on the Development of the Lake Chad say the initiative will entrench a new phase of stability across troubled borders. Abubakar Akwenga reports.
The Second International Annual Forum on the Development of the Lake Chad region continues on 3 thematic areas of regional integration, infrastructure, mobility, border governance and security, agricultural development, resilience and best practices, and knowledge management for decision-making in the Lake Chad region.
We are gathered here to discuss all constraints and find solutions to these constraints in order to not only ease economic and social development in the region, but also fight together against instability.
The construction by the upstream Cameroon in the southern part had constrained the flow of water that led to the massive withdrawal of the waters that exposed Nigerian side, which is in the northern pool, the site of Niger, which is also in the northern pole, much more susceptible to environmental degradation. So they are talking about unanimous ratification of the water charter that was developed by the Lake Chad Basin Commission.
Quality research documents are expected to be drafted by experts at the end of the plenary for consideration and implementation by key players in the Lake Chad region. From Mahatma Gandhi International Conference Center here in Niamey, Niger Republic, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
In its sustained efforts towards bridging the nation's housing deficit, the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria has delivered 351 houses to successful working-class Nigerians in Kano State under the Ministerial Pilot Housing Scheme of the bank. Yohana Suhassan Barrow reports on the handing over of keys to beneficiaries of the scheme.
The tale of little drops of water makes a mighty ocean is exactly what the federal government seems to be achieving under the Ministerial Pilot Housing Scheme of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria.
This particular project has been delivered successfully by Al-Mukab Dynamics Limited with a significant value addition component which was not part of the bill of quantities and job specification given to us by the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria.
Hajara Dauda Kallamu's joy knows no bounds as she opens and steps into the house allocated to her by the Federal Mortgage Bank at Al-Mukab Housing Estate in Kano.
Seriously, I'm happy. I follow all the due process and requirement they require from Federal Mortgage Bank for me to get this place, and it's very easy.
She is just one out of the many low and medium income earners who are lucky to become homeowners.
I can say I have a home, my own home.
This, the State Minister of Works and Housing, Umar El Yakub, said is to ensure actualization of the Sustainable Development Goal 11, which targets sustainable cities and communities.
Therefore, the critical institutions like the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria are giving attention to finding new and innovative ways of financing and providing affordable housing.
Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, while commissioning the houses, commended the federal government for the laudable initiative, which he said, apart from bridging the nation's housing deficit, it has also provided jobs for hundreds of indigent persons in the state. Another estate will take off in the state under the scheme. In Kano, Yahana Hassan, NTA News.
The National Executive President of the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria, RITIAN, Alhaji Musa Mohammed Maitakobi, has appointed Areshola Kudus as the acting chairman of RITIAN Lagos State Chapter. National Vice President Southwest Samuel Olugbenga made this known during a press conference with journalists at RITIAN House in Abuja. Omenka Amarachuku has the details.
The appointment of Deputy Chairman Administration, Lagos Chapter, Areshola Kudus as RITAN Acting Chairman, Lagos State Branch, is in line with RITAN Constitution and also approved by members of the National Executive Council of RITAN during a meeting held at RITAN House on the 24th of this month in Abuja.
Deputy Chairman Admin Areshola Kudus as the Acting Chairman of Lagos State as refers to Article 7, Cap 211, bracket A of RITAN Constitution.
He commended Lagos State RITAN members for their patience, resilience, and law-abiding, stressing that the April 18th judgment by the Industrial Court in the dispute between RITAN and Lagos State government is highly commendable. RITAN National Chairman Musa Mohammed Maitakobi was decorated as Fellow of the Michael Imodu Institute, Lagos. In Abuja, Omenka Amarachuku, NTA News.
Time now to go over to Lagos and link up with Hingino John Adams for more news. Hingino.
Thank you, Cyril. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has debunked stories making the rounds that direct entry candidates are having difficulties in the ongoing registration into universities. Lynn Leneke was at the JAMB office in Ikoyi and brought back this report.
Direct entry candidates going through the registration process at the Joint Admissions Matriculation Board office in Ikoyi, Lagos. The Lagos State Coordinator of JAMB, Bilyaminu Shitu, explained that the rush reported by some media organization is as a result of the last-minute approach by candidates. This, he said, the board has adopted initiatives to curtail.
Probably because of the crowd we were seeing, we had to open an extra outlet at another center on the mainland, so that for those people who are on the mainland, you can go there and you can as well come to the island. Wherever you feel it's safe for you to register, please come. And from what you can see, there is no crowd.
Some direct entry candidates speak on their experience.
I came here before and I was given an appointment, and today was my appointment, so I was here and I'm here to register. So there was something to me.
I got here around, I think, 10, and there has been a lot of progress so far.
The coordinator, however, assured the candidates of the board's resolve in ensuring that legitimate candidates are registered. In Lagos, Lynn Leneke, NTA News.
The first prosecution witness and father of the deceased, Michael Adeniran, has testified before Justice Oyindamola Ogala as trial on the death of late Whitney Adeniran begins at the Lagos State High Court, Ikeja, involving Lagos State Government, Chrisland School Limited, and 4 others. Amaka Owo reports.
Defendants, one Ademoye Adewale Kuku Fatai, Belinda Mao, Wato Victoria, and Chrisland Schools Limited were present before the presiding judge, Oyindamola Ogala. The first prosecution Witness and father of the deceased, Michael Adeniran, was examined by the Lagos State Director of Public Prosecution, Babajide Martins. He told the court that contrary to comments on social media, his daughter was hale and hearty when she left home for school on Thursday, 9th of February 2023, but was brought dead to the Agege Central Hospital as her pupils were dilated, her lips and tongue dark, which was why he refused to accept the claims that she died of a heart attack. He said he requested for an autopsy report from the Department of Pathology, Lagos State University Teaching Hospital. He also added that his late daughter had a phone and was a member of a Snapchat group called Lagos Housewives, where students' chats alleged they saw how the deceased got electrocuted from the candy cut machine. Copies of the death certificate and Snapchat conversations were presented and admitted as evidences before the court. During an intensive cross-examination by the defense counsel, the first prosecution witness agreed that since his daughter was admitted into the school in 2022, he had signed a consent form twice for the deceased to attend the school's inter-house sports competition. Counsel to the second defendant, Richard Ahonoro, senior advocate of Nigeria, argued that the father of the deceased alleged possible electrocution as cause of death, in which medical records showed the deceased had visited the hospital on January the 20th, 2023, prior to the 9th of February 2023, where she was given drugs for panic attack, confirming the state of a heart attack as seen in the death certificate. The third defense counsel requested that since the first prosecution witness is in custody of the phone, the messages be reviewed to ascertain its integrity. Justice Ogala requested that extracts of exhibits be provided in court. The case was adjourned till the 1st of June 2023. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
Time now for some messages. The news will be back shortly.
First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari, is advocating for policies and packages that will further improve the welfare of spouses of military personnel, considering the unique nature of military service. This was at a book presentation, The Journey of a Military Wife. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has details.
The book, The Journey of a Military Wife, highlights the unique roles of a military personnel's wife in view of the complex nature of the duties of an armed forces personnel. The First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari, who was a special guest at the public presentation, enjoined the government to improve the welfare of the wives of military officers.
Military and the government of Nigeria should consider addressing some of the issues in the book, which includes the need for better institutional support systems for officers and their families, such as the PTSD Center. The need for shorter tours for officers and soldiers, particularly those in the front lines. Economic empowerment opportunities for wives.
I believe that that book certainly will help us to be able to reshape some of our policy documents to the effect that we'll have better families, better children, and have got a better nation.
The author, who is the national president of the Defense and Police Wives Association, DPOA, Victoria Irabo, highlights the possible impacts of the book on the spouses of military personnel.
We had little or no counseling. We fell in love and we married our military husbands. But today, would-be military wives would have books to read and be able to navigate their journey with ease.
Guests at the event described the book as a guide to a successful military family and a progressive society. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
To bridge the gap between electricity companies, regulators and everyday consumers, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has carried out a public enlightenment on rights and obligations concerning metering, refund of overbilling, disconnection and reconnection, among other customers' complaints, at a resolution meeting in Asaba, Delta State. Ifoma Okafo reports.
The Nigerian power sector has over the years experienced challenges ranging from poor power supply, disruptions, infrastructure deficit, and far-reaching commercial viability. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC, is said to get first-hand information on customers' challenges.
My only annoyance as a Nigerian that is God that I want
to give me prepaid meter. For the past years, they refuse. The house where I stay here, we have no meter. They gave me bill of 17,000 for a room and a parlor.
Commissioner Consumer Affairs, NIC, Aisha Mahmood says the commission has boosted its workforce to ensure good service delivery.
I'm sure all of you seated here today don't even know that, if you're wrongfully disconnected, you're supposed to be compensated. And that's because, you don't know. So you have to take extra efforts, to know what those rights are.
The feedback they provided, sent us more on the need to intensify effort to meet our customers. I can assure you that we go back with this feedback and then we will ensure that all these things are actually done.
Several complaints of customers were addressed and some were referred to NEC offices to get further clarification. It is expected that these will certainly break the gap between electricity companies and consumers. Ifeoma Okafor, NTA News.
The Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NAITI, has said it will soon commence engagements with the Dangote refinery on the specific issues around the 20% equity interest that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has taken in the refinery on behalf of the Federation. This came as the agency welcomes with high expectations the completion and commissioning of the multi-billion-dollar Dangote refinery by President Muhammadu Buhari. The Executive Secretary of NAITI, Dr. Orji Ogbonnaya Orji, says NAITI's independent report on subsidy payments between 2005 and 2021 disclosed more than 13.7 trillion naira as having been expended on subsidies, with capital flight and other numerous challenges over fuel importation. In view of the above, NAITI believes that the takeoff of Dangote refinery with 650,000 barrels daily refining capacity will largely address Nigeria's domestic demands for refined petroleum products within the short and medium terms. Dr. Orji stated that NAITI expects the Dangote refinery to fully comply with the principles of the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, which Nigeria is a signatory to, and advised the conglomerate to distance itself from a monopolistic business model and embrace corporate social responsibility, openness, and accountability. The All Progressives Congress is set to officially launch a compendium of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration's significant achievements. A statement by the party's national chairman says the event will hold tomorrow, Friday, May 26, 2023, at the State House Conference Center, Abuja, by 4 p.m. We'll take another short break now. And that concludes Network News Tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Cyril Stober. Good night.